Wow.
Did you draw that?
I did not.
How did you roll? Do that.
It was super cute. I think it was Matilda's kiddos. Hello.
Camera.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna give people a couple more minutes and then we'll just get started. Did you have a good weekend, Michael?
I did. How about you?
Mine was pretty good. I'm a little tired from it. I had a bachelorette party. We just went to one of my friends has a cabin next to the Slugs River,
Okay.
and we just got to hang out together and watch movies and swim and paddleboard. Good morning, Mackenzie. It was good. What'd you do?
Me?
Yeah.
What did I do? Worked on my marketing plan on Saturday. Sunday, my brother kicked me out of the house, so I went up to Woodburn because I needed a pair of running shoes. So I went up to the outlets just because I was curious. I hadn't been there.
Yeah.
And then I went to the Willamette Farmers Market. And then after that, I just hung out and read.
Nice.
Oh, not much.
Yeah.
Just
So-
chill. No, I wouldn't. No, but Diet Farm makes really good meat. I like to go get. And if I don't go to the farmer's market, I have to go all the way to the side.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a drive.
Did you have a good weekend, Mackenzie?
Yes. Very nice.
Yeah. You just existed. Yeah.
Nothing very happened, but
It's kind of nice though.
my daughter got her first feasting, so I wasn't there for it. She was
That's exciting.
So
I'm assuming she was okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
still swollen, but all good.
For sure. Okay, give 2 more minutes and then we'll get started. For those that are on Zoom, if you guys have a question or you want to share something, feel free to turn mute off and do so. And then also I'll be monitoring the chat as well. So if you do have any questions that way, feel free to send them.
Hey, Coryn,
Yes.
I spent the weekend at the Deschutes River with the Goonie Birds. You know who they are, right? Goonie Birds,
Possibly.
my world famous soccer team.
Oh, yeah. That's exciting.
Yeah, we have a camp. We have a camp out at one of the former members' houses. Beautiful sunsets and beautiful views of the three desert. But you can jump in the river or go stand up paddleboarding or something off their dock. So pretty fun.
Nice. Nice. That sounds like a really good weekend. I love the Deschutes River.
It's over on the Bend side, not too far from. It's actually between. Well, it's near Eagle Crest.
Oh, okay. Yeah. For sure. All right, well, we're gonna go and get started. And this is Ignite Session 6, Grow Your Database. My name is Coryn Diebel. I am the Agent Services Coordinator here for Keller Williams Mid-Willamette. I also help teach the Market Center tech side of things, and I also help with the front desk side of things as well. So you'll probably, if you haven't already, see me run around everywhere. But it's something that I definitely enjoy, and getting just to be around people and meet different people and help them in their career as a real estate agent. So welcome. Screen will work. Okay, perfect. So this is kind of where we're at in Ignite. We're session 6, like I said. Last week, Laura went over how to generate your leads. Who went to that class, and did you get a lot out of it? Good. Good. Laura is an amazing teacher, so I'm so glad that you were able to listen to what she had to say. So like this title of this class today, we're going to learn more about your database and how it affects your real estate business, and the difference between just lead generation and then what that looks like in your database. All the leads that you gather, all the conversations that you have to go somewhere. I've heard of people using popsicle sticks as literally putting their name and like the number of that person, and then they would have jars on their desk and put it in like the nurture, like ready to buy or closed. And that's how they organize their business. You know, honestly, that kind of worked for them for a time. But as they got busy, they were like, okay, well, what am I going to do? And that's when Command kind of rolled around. So I'm going to touch briefly on Command, and we're going to get into that. And so if you have any questions about Command, totally feel free to ask. This is definitely the space to do so. But once your leads and contacts are captured in that database, you can then leverage that database to cultivate those relationships and have those conversations to generate new repeat and referral business as well. So this is our agenda. It's probably hard to see. I'm going to shorten this a little bit. We're going to talk about the smart data bank, building your database, feeding your database, communicating with your database, servicing your database, and then we'll talk about any recaps, any ahas, and then more from there. So by the end of the session today, you should be able to identify key information you'll need for a contact, determining the categories / segments for each contact in your database, and then building your database by asking your sphere of influence or SOI for specific referrals if needed. Do you guys have any questions at the current moment or anything that you would like to know specifically about what that looks like in your database? Okay, perfect. So I have a quote that will come up. Your database is your business. Building up the number of names in it and a relationship with those names is really at the very core of what building a real estate business is all about. Have you ever thought about your database as your business? Because it's true, without a database, you'll have no business, and the number of names in your database, the relationship you build with people will determine the success of your business. So just like the example that I gave, the more that she builds in those popsicle sticks, the more people she had to like be relational with. And with a database and a data bank, like you'll be able to cultivate those relationships in an authentic, but also automated way, depending on how you build that out. So like I said, you'll learn how to feed and care for it, and we'll talk in more detail about what that looks like. So first thing, smart data bank. So this is kind of your database. You've got like the container that holds all of the contact information for your leads, your contacts. Can somebody tell me the difference between a lead and a contact?
A lead is actually looking to buy or sell. Contact is just somebody you have like in your phone.
Sort of.
Yeah. Question.
Michael, do you have an idea?
Well, a lead, I always look at this way. A lead is a suspect because you may not necessarily be qualified for that. So you don't really know if they're an opportunity to do business yet or not. Contact is what you do. Reach out and talk to people. And so by definition, if you're looking at it from the lead generation side of it versus the activity side of it, if you're classifying a contact as a lead, it would be somebody that you've actually had conversations with.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure which one of those two you were going for.
Yeah, really, ultimately, the way that we've defined it here at Keller Williams is leads are people who have expressed interest in a service that you may offer, whether that's buying or selling or potential like helping out with like maybe connecting them home warranties or anything like that. And then contact are people that you have a relationship with. So lead is somebody that you have basically a one-way conversation, and contact is somebody that also is reaching out to you and you're having that back and forth kind of conversation. Does that make sense? So like once you're able to have that difference, you'll be able to be like, these are my leads that I'm like hoping to gain as a contact. And then I have my contacts in my database that I have an established relationship with that I'm hoping to build off of so that they're willing to buy or sell. Many top agents have very successful businesses working with their sphere of influence. That's a big one. It's a great way to build your database, to look at your sphere of influence, meaning like who's in your sphere of people, maybe like hobbies, like church events, or maybe you love to run, or farmers market, like you mentioned, or maybe the city that you live in, or different hobbies that you like to do. Like, sounds like you like to run, Michael.
Well, I wouldn't call it run.
Or like go on walks or something, hike.
A jog.
A jog. There you go.
Be the actor.
Jog. Maybe like you'll start doing more like events that involve more jogging, then you meet more people. And so those are like within that sphere of people that you can develop these relationships with. Some of them would include your family, and then some of them would include acquaintances or your friends or people that you're very close with. So the first task that you'll need to accomplish to fill your database or your data bank is to really list out who is in your sphere of influence. So switch slides. So we've got this lead generation and database model. If you have your book, feel free to switch this page. Can somebody explain to me, using the model that I have on the screen, where your database is in the representation of it? Is it in the lead capture? Do you have leads to contacts? Are you cultivating those conversations for conversion? Where are you guys at with that?
Well, database, you typically should be in level 3, which is cultivate. Okay.
What about your database specifically?
On my database specifically, I'm on Cabot.
And how's that going?
Sometimes good, sometimes bad.
Slowly rolling?
It is what it is.
It is what it is, for sure. What about you? Okay. Everybody can all be in different spots. I know some people like Michael just like moved up here like a month ago, almost a month and a half ago. And so he's just now starting to get his feet on the ground and running, like literally with jogging and and with his database. And so wherever you start, this is a great model to follow of like, how can I prospect and market that I'm a real estate agent here, ready to help service the needs of the Willamette Valley? And then how can I get those leads that I have into contacts, and then strengthen those relationships to then cultivate those contacts for conversion to be able to buy or sell. So this is the model that we teach here, is how can you grow your database to really capture this flow? And then from those cultivate contacts for conversion, you then have like many new contacts that you might have, and then maybe repeat, and then those can be referrals, and then you go back to lead capture. So it's kind of the cyclical flow. And like you see up here, like on the first part of it, it says lead generation, which would be your prospecting and marketing. And then in this giant portion of the cylinder, you have your relationship management, which is also very, very important, because you could 100% capture a ton of leads, but if you're not able to have effective conversations and manage your relationships with your contacts effectively, having your conversion is going to be lower. So that's definitely something to keep in mind as you're building out your business, is how are you able to like relate with people? Like, how is something like jogging going to be able to relate with people that maybe want to like buy or sell in the future? And like, what does that look like? So kind of like I talked about, your database is basically all about relationship management. The relationships you build and develop will grow your business through new, repeat, or referral business. Your database is key to your business, and it does a ton for you. A database keeps you organized so you can run your business effectively and efficiently. A database keeps a comprehensive record of communication and relationship through systematized communication. So it's one thing, if you're using Command or other databases, this is a really, really helpful tool to, like I just mentioned, keep organized for not only compliance reasons, but you can look back on those conversations and go, oh yeah, they did talk about their dog was going through maybe a tough surgery. I should check in with that. That's a very effective way to make sure that you're kind of staying on top of mind, but also being relational as well. Third, a database helps automate other tasks. And then fourth, a well-maintained database holds value and can be sold if you choose to retire or close the business, if that is something that you wish to do. If you're organized, and a smart database will sure beat a notepad of names or sticky notes or popsicle sticks, or any non-automated system. And that's something that I definitely, even in my role, want to teach people what that looks like as you guys build your career in real estate. Okay, so Command. Command is a smart database that KW makes available to you. I know I've had conversations about Command with, I believe, most of you, especially those that are on Zoom. So to give a rundown of what Command is a database of names and contact information, contacts like in your phone, and with a ton more information at your fingertips. There's a goal tracker. So if you have certain goals for this year or even next year, I would even consider and encourage you guys to look at what are your goals for this next year. You can track that within Command. You can enter those with in Command yourself for the month and the year, and it will track your activities, your conversion rates, and your potential projected income. There's also a task manager to track all the things you're committed to completing in lead generation, and transaction management, depending on how your Command is set up for you. I know some people that are on teams don't necessarily deal with a lot of transaction management because they have transaction coordinators. And then I know some people who are literally all in from beginning to end. You have a marketing suite for newsletters. Michael and I definitely met about landing pages, and we've talked about that a little bit. You can do postcards, other mailers, maybe even presentations, depending on what you desire for that, and then even social media posts. You even have access to a referral network within Keller Williams as a whole international company, which I think is super awesome and a great resource if you want to build your referral network. I know I've talked to Sarah Mejia about that, and she's built her referral network a little bit. And it's the great thing about Command is it's ever evolving. So if there's something like we talked about landing pages at this current moment, there's definitely lots of room to grow for landing pages. And yet that is something that Keller Williams desires to do as a company, is to grow and evolve. And I have mentioned to Michael that the websites are on the horizon to be better than they have been in the past. Take the on-demand series called Command Your Business, or how to get 100K in your pipeline in 90 days. Those are all under KW Connect. Those are great resources to be able to learn the system of Command if you desire to do that yourself, to then be able to take your business to the next level. Okay, so the laws of your database. So now we kind of know why using your database is important. Remember that your database is your business. So we're going to talk about how we can make that happen. There are 4 laws. Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing good. No worries. Okay, so we're going to talk about the 4 laws to help your database and help that business in your database thrive. First law is build your database. Second law is feed it every day. Third law is communicate in a systematic way. Excuse me. And then 4 is service all the leads that come your way. Okay. Are there any ahas? There's a couple of these slides in here. So if you don't have any, no worries. Any questions too? Okay, perfect. Okay, so moving on, we just talked about your smart data bank. Now we're going to talk about build your database. With the way that Ignite is set up, or just in lead generation in general, you should be practicing and also making these calls to build your database. At the minimum, each contact that you have in Command or other CRMs that you're using is your name, the contact information, a past business record. I would even add to this slide actually that the way I have been taught, and also from my understanding, the best way that Command is going to work for you is if you have a name, their phone number, an email address, and then their primary home address. And that's what I would call a complete contact. If you don't have those 4 aspects, there are opportunities to be missed in Command, because those like primary address, you can build smart plans off of. Email and phone number obviously are a way to communicate to your contacts. So if you don't have those, you're not a complete contact in your database. So definitely strive to be able to get that information to be able to build your database so that it works for you. Okay. So the first names to put in your database are your sphere of influence. Does anybody have any people that they're having in mind that they don't have in their database yet? They want to share? No worries. In Command, there are several ways to add your contacts for the first time. You can come meet with me and we can have a conversation about that, or you can search for it in the Ignite reference guide, or even go on KW Connect to be able to figure out what that looks like. Another way to add information to your contacts is to make sure that you put their birthdays down there. Their smart plans based around birthdays and home anniversaries. Even information on like, do they own, do they rent, and for how long. You can even add other family members' names. And then as you build relationships, like I've mentioned before, with these contacts, you can add that in the note sections of their contact card so that you can be effective in building that relationship with those people. Okay, so like this slide, hello, Linda, shows, this is the contact card. And so you can see that there are the phone number, the email, you can see the lead source. Basically, as the best way to be able to be effective in Command is to fill out as much as information as you can with each person that you meet. You can see that you can add neighborhoods, you can add multiple neighborhoods, you can even mark them as a lead or turn them off as a lead if you've developed that relationship with them. You basically ultimately want to enter the details for each contact. And then, like I mentioned before, on KW Connect, there's Command Your Database. And that's something that you can learn more on how to do that with contacts and smart plans in Command. Let's get that. Okay. Feeding your database. What are ways that you feed your database in prospecting and marketing? Does anybody have any examples? Michael, what do you do?
Feed my database every day.
Yeah. What type of prospecting do you do?
Well, I do open houses, door knocking.
Yeah. What's been the most effective for you? Has it been open houses or?
I would have to say open houses would probably actually dead even.
Yeah.
I'm thinking my number is dead even. And about the same result.
And have you put these people in Command?
No.
I would encourage.
I really need to learn math. It's on my to-do list.
Well, feel free to meet with me too, and we can talk more about that as well. But that definitely is something that, as you know, to put into practice is as you're building these relationships, put that into your database. And that's part of feeding it every day.
I have no cards for you.
No cards are great. You know, it's a good start. Mackenzie, what about you? What are ways that you're prospecting in your real estate business?
So Sarah and I actually just talked about that last week. I wanted social media to be a big thing.
Yeah.
But we kind of realized I don't really have that many followers to be contacting 50 people a day for that. So I'm still going to be like posting and being active on social media, but I'm also kind of turning to I'm going to be farming and sending out neighborhood newsletters to people. And
those are all really good ways to
so
grow.
I'm gonna figure out, like, farming is like starting today, so it's gonna be a brand new.
Nice. Are you excited about it?
Yeah.
Good.
Get
Okay.
a little bit of a new thing to do. Oh, I was doing open houses.
Nice. Nice. Does anybody kind of utilize their sphere of influence? Anybody that they've talked to within their sphere that they've been able to build their database from a little bit? Yeah.
I did reach out to a few people maybe a couple weeks ago on Instagram, and one person, an old high school friend, is looking to buy. So I like started
So that worked out.
She's pregnant, but
Yeah.
hopefully we'll get the ball rolling with that.
Way to reach out and way to like tap into that a little bit. And social media is a great way to be able to get your name out there and also have fun with it too. So, but hello, Melinda.
Maybe you can help me with this. A couple of my social media posts have gotten like really big traction.
Oh, really?
Random, not real estate posts, not you necessarily. Post on my personal life or something. I don't know how to take advantage of that. You know?
Honestly, that's a good start. I would suggest continue to be you. And then don't be afraid to also, in the midst of that, post more of the fact like, hey, I'm a real estate agent too. If you need help with this and this and this, you know, because not only are you building what I've heard, like, know, and trust. That's one of the biggest 3 ways that you can grow a relationship with people. Is like people can like you. And as they get to know you, they'll more than likely trust you. So if you can develop that in your business, how can I get people to like who I am and what I can offer them? And then how can I grow in their knowledge of me, that I am a knowledgeable real estate agent, and therefore there is trust to be built there. So as you're feeding your database every day, think about the like, know, and trust. And especially for you, Mackenzie, in social media, it's great that you reached out on Instagram, because obviously they already knew you. You were in high school with this person. And by being diligent and reaching out, like, you've developed somewhat of a trust there too.
And I've also posted like other like things that I've sold or
Yeah.
things that have just gone on the market to like show that I am an agent, but obviously they didn't reach out from that. So I'm glad that I reached out to them.
Yeah. Good job. That's awesome. This is a good question. Does anybody remember from the previous session the 2 pathways for feeding leads and contacts in your database? Anybody?
Is auto, is there any auto drips that are on them? I wasn't here.
I also wasn't here either, and so I have a vague memory. Because I took this whole series last year, and I'm like, what was said? It says, do you remember from the previous session from what Laura taught? What are the 2 pathways for feeding the leads and contacts in your database? If you don't remember.
CRM.
So that is your database, but how do you feed it? Prospecting and marketing. Yeah. I know it was a little vague of a question, right? Okay, so law number 2, feeding it every day. This law is about adding people to your database, just as we discussed on Friday. First, you add all the people you know. So that's going to be your homework after this session, is everybody that you know that is not into Command or whatever CRM that you're using, put it into Command. I'm looking at you.
I see the value in Command. To properly use a CRM, you actually have to know it.
100%.
And that takes time.
100%.
And right now it's,
That's overwhelming to start with.
It is. And I am also still learning the system, so I can understand the I'm a wait to like touch that. But if you like, in a sense, like just starting small, you know, just adding names in there at least. You don't have to touch anything else, but just add your people. And then as you're building in relationship with like open houses and door knocking, then you can start to get more comfortable with the system. So like I said, add all the people you know, your sphere of influence, and the people you encounter on the regular. You can add your dentist, who's a suggestion, your children's teachers, coworkers, people you may know from the neighborhood, any Instagram messages that you reach out with. The rest of your feed comes from lead generating. So you have your sphere of influence and then lead generating. The more that you're able to lead generate, the more that you're able to feed your database and then be able to build your business from that. In the previous section from Laura, you should have learned the difference between prospecting and marketing. Can somebody tell me the difference between those two?
I think prospecting is like somebody that you already know and met, and so you're just trying to get seeing if they're interested in real estate, as opposed to marketing, which is someone maybe that you haven't met, but you're trying to get into a lead system before they become a client.
Yeah, I feel like there's a little bit of overlap between both of them, because in a sense, you're prospecting to be able to look for potential new leads / then build them into contacts. And the
Right.
marketing, you're just like,
Yeah.
I'm here. Please help me help you. Okay, so prospecting is actively seeking leads and building relationships through your conversations, just like Rena was saying. It's cost effective, and you're able to directly hear if and when people are able and ready to potential buy or sell or willing to do business with you. Marketing is more of a passive way, kind of like what we talked about with social media. I love that you're getting really good traction, even just with people wanting to know more about your life, which is awesome. You're putting information out there on print or social media, handing out flyers when you're door knocking, or even flyers when you're doing open houses, and then waiting for leads to seek you out. Of the two, which do you think is the most effective?
Probably prospecting,
Why?
because it involves more input from me, more contacting.
Yeah. Marketing is definitely helpful and should be involved, but prospecting is really what's going to drive your lead generation and feeding your database.
Statistics are a little bit startling.
Yeah.
I mean, you should really look at them, because I've been in the business for 7 years and just realized that, like, the amount of people that you have to go through in order to get one.
100%.
Yeah.
It takes a
startling.
lot more effort.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is another reason why, like, diving back into your sphere of influence is probably a good avenue to go to, because people are in very interesting spots right now when it comes to wanting to buy or sell a house, because they're hearing all sorts of different things and getting inundated with not the most accurate of information, which is why it's important for you to be the real estate expert in your local area, so that you're able to build these relationships and do them well and see people like get into their first or second or third home. Okay, so the value, speaking of, this is a great transition, value of your sphere will either generate new, repeat, or referral business. And that's something that if you haven't tapped into, like I said, is going to be very effective for you. Some top agents I know of and have heard run highly productive businesses based solely on their sphere. If you haven't tapped into your sphere yet, this is definitely the opportunity to do so, because your sphere is your source, like I said, for new, repeat, or referral business. Remember that this was the client and referral loop in the database model, as we're kind of seeing. New business comes when someone in your sphere begins thinking about buying or selling, and they think of you. So Mackenzie's example is great, where she knew of like an old high school classmate and had reached out thinking that this would be a good opportunity to potentially buy or sell with that specific person. Any repeat business comes from clients that you've helped in the past, who are so pleased with the service that you've offered and experience that you provided that they would ask for you again. This kind of goes back to what I said about like, know, and trust. If you really hit those three concepts hard and well, more than likely you're going to find yourself with repeat business. Referral business comes from clients who've used you before and know of your stellar service and recommend you to the people in their sphere. Who might your sphere refer to you? The people in your sphere, who do you think that they would refer? like just in general. 100%. 100%. Maybe their friends or their relatives, and maybe even their neighbors too, depending on the area that you farm and you're involved with. Michael, do you have a predominant area that you do door knocking?
Yeah, but I'm looking to, I basically, because I'm just getting started in the area and don't know, I basically
Yeah.
go to the dartboard. I'm working on kind of this, I don't know exactly even if it's an effective farming.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do have a sick area I'm targeting just for now.
Good. That's a great way to start.
That would probably be a good idea. I don't actually know it. It's
How?
interesting you would say that, 'cause I had been one.
Yeah. Which the one thing I really love about Ignite is that we can collaborate with each other. So love that. How do you ensure that your sphere will refer you?
Don't know.
There you go. Yeah. And how do you do that? Mackenzie kind of did that a little bit.
To stay in front of them.
Yeah, stay in front of them, asking for a referral, reaching out on social media, explaining how you can give a referral. I know there's definitely lots of dialogues out there to like put that into your listing presentations as well, or even your bio consultations as well. Sharing how important it is to you to be able to have that referral business so that you can be able to help as many people as you can, and then thanking them with words verbally, but also gifting them as like a huge thank you for referring them that business to you. Your sphere ultimately genuinely wants to help you for the most part. Like your family, your friends, like they want to see you thrive. If they don't, that's a very different conversation. And you can easily feed your database with those people. So think about that as you're building your database. Okay. What are other ways to feed your business, database, business? So same thing.
I actually run an event page.
Really? What do you do? What? Like, that's exciting.
Like around town events?
Yeah,
or-
yeah. So because I'm in Albany, Lebanon, Sweet Home.
Yeah.
And technically Cornwallis.
Yeah.
Even though I don't sell over there now. And then I've got quite a few people in Eugene. I do a section for each. And then I look for events that are going on, including on city pages and things.
Nice.
Every Wednesday I send out a events letter. And in that events letter at the bottom, there's also like hot new properties, reduced prices. So I'm actually marketing to my own group of people that
100%.
kind of get something every week.
Yeah,
It's not a small thing. It takes a while.
for sure.
It's like a 3 or 4 hour thing a week.
For sure.
But for 3 or 4 hours a week, if I can get that, I'm trying to get that up to like 10,000. I'm only up to like 250 at the moment.
Yeah.
But I have a website that captures things that, so when people go to look at, if they send that events page on, it pops up with a pop-up that says, follow us every week and get a weekly newsletter for all events. And so
Nice.
people sign up for those.
Nice.
And so
I
then-
love that.
and then because I have a pixel on my website that goes back to my CRM, which is not command, by the way. But I will be like integrating some stuff. into
Yeah.
Command. But
Yeah.
this is mainly for my resident lead stuff.
100%.
I can see when people go back and look at that events page. And I can also see if they click on a link and see if they start looking at real estate, so that I can start targeting those people for, hey, I saw you were looking at,
Yeah.
such and such. Or you can send out a real estate newsletter to them,
Mhm.
to that group of people that actually clicked on stuff that had to do with real estate and got off of my resident events page and kind of moved over into looking at real estate. So to kind
Nice.
of give them targeted things to start thinking
Yeah.
about, depending on where they are in the whole process.
That's a great example. And
So
I
that's what
love that. Yeah, and that's 100% something that you could do too. And that sounds like that's something. How long have you been doing that?
I've been doing that since February.
And do you think it's been effective?
I
Or
can
you're
see that
building-
people are looking, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I mean, so because I still have to do real estate. I mean, I have still to make money. 'Cause that's
Yeah.
not my primary source of leads, and that's not where my money's coming from, basically. But I do want to eventually. That's kind of a free resource.
Yeah.
That's not costing me anything for marketing.
Yeah.
And so it takes time because it's either money or time. I mean, that's one of the two things. So, but that's just my choice because I've always wanted to come from an area of value.
Yeah.
And so that was the closest thing that I could find to getting value. I do like a business of the week that I post on my website. And I've done interviews with business owners so that I'm kind of it's kind of like farming, but from a social aspect. So,
and you're developing that like, know, and trust.
Yes.
Already within
Correct.
that.
So people see me and then they can choose to work with me or not.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is great. That's a phenomenal example. And very similar to what, like offer an item of value related to real estate is one of the examples that I have on my notes, which is essentially literally what Rena just described, which I love that. And I hope that in time, that's just something that, I just saw something in the chat. That's Rena. Hi, Lionel. Lionel asked, was like, who's talking? That's Rena Brown. I love that. That's an example of like prospecting, but mostly marketing.
Right.
It's like you're like looking and like reaching out to those that are actually like interested in looking at housing stats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I hope that eventually, as you get more effective and efficient with it, it will start to, generate those conversations and hopefully become leads and contacts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So another example is you can encourage people to write a testimonial review. That's another great way to be able to like feed your database. And so that people can look at, like Mackenzie has like 5 people saying that she's wonderful to work with and she's funny on TikTok. Like, I don't know. I've seen like one video of your TikTok. Yeah. Which is awesome. And that's going back to the like, know, and trust. If you can get testimonials on your page or just testimonials in general, even in your newsletters, as you're sending those out, that is a great way to develop those conversations and potential leads and clients in your database, contacts in your database. Okey-dokey.
I can share one thing that I have been doing lately that has been working great.
Go Stacey.
So I love to do events, and so I was actually lead generating with Lionel and Marianne like a week and a half ago, and I had this idea pop up in my head. So I was going to have an end of the year or into the summer, like just barbecue celebration, so I could ask for referrals. So I made one video just saying, hey, I just want to let you know I'm having an end of the summer VIP barbecue. Anyone who wants to come to that, all they have to do is send me a referral of somebody that's buying or selling. And so if you know one over the summertime that's buying or selling, just call me, give me their contact information, and then you'll be invited to the VIP barbecue. So we're going to have games, raffles, prizes. I always get all my vendors to donate all the raffle baskets that I give out. And so it doesn't cost me a whole lot of money. It's pretty inexpensive. And so then I've just been sending that out on Messenger, Facebook Messenger. I'll send that video out to like 20 people every day. Because Messenger actually blocks you if you send too many of those videos.
Really?
But yeah, they do.
They want you to they want you to pay advertising.
But actually the first day that I sent it, I got 2 referrals.
Wow.
One of them, I have already listed the house, and we just went pending this weekend. So it was only on the market for 3 days. We listed at $950 and we got a cash offer for $965. So we are in contract on that one. And then the other one was a $3 million commercial listing, which I am referring out to our commercial agent here. And so yeah, I haven't got any more leads since then, but I got those 2 leads the first day, and it's just like something to get people excited about. And since then I've been making flyers so I can post to social media. But I started sending that out to my sphere first. So I have a list of my sphere. And so I send those through Messenger. And then after I get through all my sphere, then I will just be going to my Facebook friends. And so I've done this in the past, and sometimes a year or 2 years later, somebody will message me and they're like, hey, I just thought of you because you sent me that video like 2 years ago. And so we want to sell our house now. So sometimes you don't hear from them forever, but it's such a great idea to put you top of mind.
I love that, Stacey. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's actually, I haven't even heard of that specific type of event, like in the way that you referred people out that way. So that's actually super encouraging to hear that is something that anybody else could do as well. And it's like the beauty of working in Keller Williams, the replicate, duplicate, and thank you. So you can be able to do that. So yeah, that's a great example. Anybody else? Okay, moving on. So make this smaller. We're gonna save this. I'm not sure. Any ahas? Cool. Okay. Any questions, comments, thoughts? Okay. Who can remind me what the third law of growing your database is? Melinda's looking.
I don't think I want to know the answer.
Communicate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's not so bad. That's not so bad. Good stuff, though.
So the first one is building your database, right? Second one is feeding your database, and third one is communicating with your database. I want to make sure that I saw this chat. Okay. So to succeed at a high level in real estate, you must commit to frequent contact with your database with the intent of building those close relationships. Rena, how often, when you do get those people that are looking at your stats and your newsletters, how often do you check in with them? Out of pure curiosity.
So I have about 150 people on there, and I typically I've got 2 people that are pretty actively looking. And so I send out an email because I don't collect phone numbers when I first do this to get people on the resident lead form. They are only names and email. So then I just send out an email about once a week and say, hey, you know the steps to buying a house, or
cool.
You know what I mean? Something of value. I try to think of something of value that, like, okay, they're looking at that for a reason. What are they looking at? What more information do they need? And then send that out in an email.
And do you get responses at all?
I have not gotten any responses from the 2 people that are looking at, but
okay. That's exciting, huh?
It is.
That's cool. You're like,
yeah,
don't want to be too excited, but
right. And I don't want to be too pushy either.
Yes.
So I don't want to like bombard them and say, you're looking at real estate, like, give me your phone number, basically, because that's what I want to say.
Right.
That you can't do that.
Learning how to be, because like it's kind of a two-handed thing. Like, obviously you want to be able to like make money so you can, survive as a person, and at the same time still building relationship with people.
So
yeah.
I've been reading Ninja Selling.
What?
I've been reading Ninja Selling.
Oh yeah.
And so one of those sections is like doing an 8x8, which is usually somebody that but that's giving value once a week. You know what I mean? Sending something out once a week. So I'm like, I could do that to them and actually like be pretty effective, because a lot of that stuff can be done through email, even if I don't have a phone number.
Yep.
And so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yes, it's definitely an art to learn how to be relational and also
drive your business. Yes, what's your,
Well, what is 8x8?
it's like the first week. So he originally tells a story of somebody that he met that actually had a realtor and that they liked. And so she even gave this lady gave a a fantastic review for this lady. Oh yeah, she was fantastic. We use her again, blah, 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 blah. So he contacted and sent out email like once a week for something they would need because they were kind of looking at selling and buying. And by like the 7th time, he couldn't even remember her name, or they couldn't even remember her name or where she was. So it was just like key points of value. Like
Being top of mind. essentially.
yeah, and that's another step that they were talking. I'm kind of sure, I'm surprised because I didn't realize all these stats. I had gotten into the book about halfway and then didn't realize that I hadn't finished it because I thought I read it. So then I got it on podcast because I thought, oh, great, like I'll listen to it in the car.
Yeah.
And so just the stuff it's staggering, like what I just didn't realize. But people won't work with you not because they're not friends with you, but because somebody was in front of them for the last, like they're really going to work with somebody that they've seen in the last 3 months when they start thinking about buying. They won't even think of you. Because you're not right in front of them, basically. You be best friends with them and they, you know, I mean, maybe not best friends because you'd probably be in front of them, but so it's like a 8-week, 8 contacts in 8 weeks, once a week, they give them something of value. So by the time they were done, because they were giving them so much stuff that was like kind of targeted to like their neighborhood. This is what's sold in your neighborhood. Hey, did you know this is your stats for this? And I don't know, events going on in your, these things that came up were just, by the time they got done, the lady that he had given a fantastic review for, they couldn't even remember her name or what company they were with. So it's like, that's surprising.
It is crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, that's like a great segue into communicating within your database. Thank you, Rita. Appreciate it. So literally going along with Rena and what the example she gave, that's like, if you take everything that I have shared thus far, be top of mind. Like if you really want to drive your business, grow your business, and do it in an effective way, communicate. And you don't have to like every single day text 500 people like, hey, I'm thinking about you. Like there are ways like the 8x8, there's a 5x5 smart plane. I'm pretty sure I've seen an 8x8 smart plane in Command as well. The Command can do that and help facilitate those ways to communicate. Sending out newsletters is a great way to do that. It's like social posts and maybe even sending specific posts to people on Facebook, or Stacy even reaching out individually. It's like 20 people a day, like communicating, being top of mind. Last week, if you guys weren't, or if you weren't here to hear this, that's totally fine. But Joel during Team Huddle shared a story where his friends, they were in their Joel's wedding, and he had been known them for years, and saw that they listed with somebody else, like literally were selling their house with somebody else. And he was like, what? I've talked to these people. They've been in my wedding. Like I'm not, what is going on? Did I miss something? And it was kind of a fluke, but it also ties into what we're talking about. But they had texted him asking if they could, talk about selling their house, and he never got it. But he wasn't consistent on being on top of mind to have those conversations. So again, like that's a little bit more of a special case where like the texting didn't quite work out, but they reached out to him like, hey, like just wanted to talk to you. Like we want to sell our house. And there was no response. And so they went with somebody else, even though they've known Joel for 20 years. Now, is there something to be said for them to like follow up or something? 100%. But that's like kind of besides.
There's also, they were planning on buying something and they were in a panic.
That,
yes. House leaving. And
yes.
in this market,
they were like, he didn't respond. I need to talk to somebody else.
Yeah. Right now, because we're going to lose it tomorrow if we don't. Yeah.
And that is a great example. And Joel's sad about it. We're still, unfortunately, but it taught him something though, to be able to communicate effectively with his friends, but also clients, and also check his phone a little bit more consistently or something along those lines. But the importance of understanding your market. How can you effectively talk to those people in the current market that we're in, right? Okay, so one of the things that Command I think does very well is being able to like segment your database. So you have like all of your VIP buyers. So obviously Stacy had all of her people that are included in her VIP barbecue, and will probably, if she uses Command, tags them in that way. You can even tag them as like, they're my fellow joggers. I don't know if you jog with other people, but like, you know.
Something.
Oh, I know some people you can do it with.
I think he was just about to say, sometimes you just need to do that yourself.
I dog alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my thinking.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, because there is a big group. That's like Star Sports
You
downtown
know,
Thursday.
That might be a great group for you to get involved with too, Melissa,
Yeah,
since you know them.
Yeah.
You can walk with them, do you?
I do have a good group.
Yeah, good.
But I'm trying to fix Michael up with a different set of people, but anyway, I seem to run at different paces. I'm just saying.
But you can tag those people as like my dog lovers, right? Like these are all the people that love talking about dogs, or these are all the people that are like families with 1 or 2 kids, or these are all the people that live in Willamette. And you can really, especially with Command, segment them down to either interests or hobbies or where they work. I mean, you might know, I know a ton of people that work at Oregon State right now. Like that would be like if I was a real estate agent, my database. So like,
Would you do tags for that? Is that
yeah.
how you would do with that?
Especially
dog lovers, you know?
well, especially depending on how I've set my database up.
Uh-huh.
And if I was sending like a weekly newsletter and I wanted specific events for dog lovers and my Oregon State faculty, which I feel like a lot of people that work at Oregon State also have a bunch of dogs. So that's just like, that's just the people that I know. And what if I wanted to send something out that was an OSU related event that you could bring your dogs to? More than likely, they would probably know if they were the people that I was sending them that event because they were at Oregon State. But I'd also send it outside of people that are maybe just dog lovers and like bring value, like, know, and trust. And then like kind of Rena's example, then have market stats at the end. You know, it just really depends on how I set up my business and what I want to focus my business on.
I have a list of dog-friendly businesses.
Yeah, dog-friendly business is a great one for that
I have
too.
a whole blog.
And you can put in. Sorry, I'm going to turn off my phone. You can put in there like these are all like my potential preferred business partners, and I want to refer these people in my newsletter to all of the VIP contacts that I have in my database. Be a great example to kind of segment and tag those contacts in your database. Okay. So one thing that's also in my notes, communicating with your database can be accomplished through those touches, right? The newsletters, the texting, the calling, maybe you're sending out mailers, maybe you're sending out Facebook posts, maybe you're doing events like barbecues. And if you compare those with meaningful, relevant, and timely information, kind of like what Rena's doing right now, she's once a week sending out, this might be something of value as you're looking to potentially sell or purchase a home. Those are great ways to be able to just send out those touches to the people in your database as you're communicating with them. I didn't even know that this would come up. This is a great segue, but same touch newsletter, like maybe you have specific newsletters that are designed for people who are tagged with golf or investors or dog lovers, like I said. And like this slide shows, you can talk about different things that are relevant for each of those people that are tagged in that way. Another big one, like we kind of touched on a few times, is communicating with value. And this is something that the 19th Connect will definitely be touched on in more Ignite sessions as well. And then the 36th Convert is Ignite session 12. So if you're continuing in your education with Ignite, that's something that you guys can look forward to and what that looks like. So the biggest takeaway with this section is when you communicate, regardless of the message, the touch point or whatever that looks like, always pair that communication with value. Because if you just like send something, but it doesn't bring value, there's nothing to really add to that relationship when you're talking to that potential leader contact. Some items of value, as we've talked about, might be market statistics. Can anybody tell me other items of value that they have personally used, or what could be?
They do a spring maintenance list.
Yeah.
And a fall maintenance list.
Yeah.
Get ready for winter and then to clean up after spring or whatever.
I'm 100% going to use the fall checklist when that comes around. My house needs it, but that would 100% be something of value.
I also have a buyer's, they're offering a grant program to 80% below median, which a lot of people are not 80% below median. And an IDA, I have a whole blog on all of those benefits to first time home buyers.
Love that.
In the lower income range.
So these things you didn't develop them all in one day, did you?
No. I did not.
I'm hoping for their.
No, this is a long process. I try to block time specifically for building those blog posts.
And do you do all of your own web design and all that?
Yeah, I went through a specific class for web design.
That's cool.
Because I just wanted to do it myself. Because I want it to look a specific way.
Yeah.
Oh,
I want to be able to move stuff around if I want to and anything like that.
Yeah, for sure. Mackenzie, what are items of value that you have sent in the past to your contacts, or what you potentially want to send?
So with the newsletters, I want to send out for performing. I'm gonna include as the previous month's average home sold price in the area.
Nice.
And then I'm kind of doing North Albany neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna compare North Albany neighborhoods to just Lynn Albany. This is a huge difference.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that kind of attracts them. Hey, Albany might not be like super great, but North Albany is like still really hot and higher price.
Nice. Yeah. It's a great example. Any other examples?
So one of my favorite things to send out is my preferred vendor list. And I just love like being that point of contact for no matter what somebody needs. They're calling me. So if they need somebody to do their hair or landscaper or car maintenance or anything, I just have a preferred vendor list of anybody that I've used or referrals that I've got that I love or that other people love to work with. So anytime somebody needs something, they're calling me and they're like, hey, do you have somebody, do you have a dry cleaner? Like I'm the person that knows everybody in this area. And so they'll reach out for me no matter what. Or if somebody else is asking, hey, do you have a good landscaper or a good roofer or whatever? Then my people that refer me, they'll be like, oh, Stacy has it. So then they'll send their friends to me also.
Nice. It's a great call out.
Hey, Coryn, it's Lionel.
Yes.
So one of the others that I've used has nothing to do with real estate at all. So they would just be classes, and they might be on leadership, teaching the one thing, QL, just areas that have a broad interest, and then it puts you in front of people. And of course, you get to mention that you're in real estate as well. But it brings value, and it brings people that that you wouldn't maybe normally connect with. So other people are inviting friends and things like that. And you do a survey at the end and you get their contact info. And I will say for mine, whenever I set this up, this 33 touch, on average, I would get somewhere between 7 and 9 leads every month, just because of the systematic that the email would show up at that time every 3 weeks. And people would go, oh my gosh, it's so amazing that you just, even though I've been sending them every 3 weeks for the last 2 years to them, the timing was perfect. They get the email, and then I would get about 7 to 9 replies to the email, but you got to have them in there and be consistent with it. So that was really helpful.
I like that. That's a good call out too. Did you guys know that you could teach first time home buyer classes here?
Yes, and I want to.
Really? Ah, okay, cool. We'll chat.
Okay.
That's something that, if I'm going to be honest, I think is utilized very often in our market centers. That's part of the market center's value to our agents, to be able to have you guys use this space for what you want to do in your business. Like I know Miriam, probably like 4 months ago, did like I feel like it was like a country line night, and they did it out in the back. Like they used this space for it. Like they had food and stuff, and they just had a good time. And it obviously wasn't necessarily real estate related necessarily, but she brought people in. And since we moved into our new market center building down on 3rd Street, Miriam's been using that space even more for, like, she did a client photo shoot. Like she had her preferred photographer come in and just take photos of her clients that wanted free photos. So that's something that if you want to utilize the space, like that's all for you to utilize. Just talk to the market center staff and we can help you kind of facilitate that a little bit, and like the timing of that, what that looks like. But that's a huge call out. Thanks, Lionel, for sharing that, because it's a good reminder.
Well, Lyle's up there. Can you text me, Lyle?
Lionel, can you text Rena? Do you have his number? Do you? Okay. Lionel, Rena wants to know what it looks like to teach a class.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll get you connected.
We're connecting this week anyway, so I'll
Yeah, that's why.
There you go.
That's why I need him to text me.
Is that
because I
something like you could do that as a new agent?
Yeah, 100%.
all of
I
the
like
slides, if you're doing a buyer's class, the slides, everything, the notes, everything is in there. It's amazing.
I'd totally like some information too, Lionel, then. That's like right up my alley.
Okay.
Love that. Okay. Moving on. So,
Can
this
I
kind of-
have a question on that. Like my brain just went down a spiral.
Go where we go.
If you said like, so if we teach that class and I take this, you get access to the slides. Can I have access to the slides just for like social media posts, TikToks, like stealing the little tidbits of information?
100%. Yeah.
Okay. Sweet deal. Would love
Yeah.
that. Thank
I can, I'll do some digging and I can send that to you if you'd like, Barbie, too, via email. I'll send you this information.
pretty please.
Absolutely. I just need to make them know.
Hey, just one more note, Coryn, on that is those books and stuff, those are all great touches as well, or items of value. Is we've got the real estate investor, we got the first time home buyer, you've got what is it, shift, or not shift, I'm sorry. What they did, what's that?
The other book's hold. He's got one book flip, and then I think he did hold too.
Hold.
Yeah, those are great books to give. And then I even would give out, like I've got some of my favorites on mindset, and it's just very memorable to be able to, like, I know you're very focused on growing your mind. I thought you'd really appreciate this book, and it really connects and cements that relationship. It gives you a great reason to follow up, just, hey, on page 28, it's got this great point, and then it's a reason to call, reconnect with them. Hey, what was your thoughts on that? And it just really strengthens that relationship.
Yeah. What do you think happens? This is everybody now. When you build relationship with your contacts and you continually show value?
specifically are you looking? That's kind of a broad question.
Well, like people want to do business with you, right?
They were.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, 100%. So keeping that in mind, if you only build your database, consistently feed it, and then neglect the communicating part, you've wasted your time.
Yeah.
And ultimately,
It's a dead date.
it's a dead database. So you can 100% grow it and like put people in there, but if you're not touching it, that you're not doing yourself any favors.
So I have a bad question.
Shoot.
You started. So then would it be safe to say, if you have somebody that you know you're not going to want to communicate with, deal with, work with, to then not put them in?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. What's up, Ted? Yeah, and that is something that, I mean, you can even put them in there and tag them as do not talk to. You know what I mean? Like, at least you're still putting them in there. Because they can have,
Tag them.
it's true. But, you know,
They're a referral. And you can refer them out. You're still gonna make 25% off of somebody else. Will you?
Yeah.
it just depends.
Yeah.
Michael's like, no, I don't want to.
Well, here's the thing.
You're giving them to somebody else and their problem.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
That tends
But
to
tell
come
them-
back around.
Tell
after-
them.
Yeah.
I mean, don't hand them to somebody that, you know what I mean? Say, I've got this person that's kind of difficult, they have a hard time, and it might fit your personality better. It could be a
There is that.
personality thing too.
Yeah,
But as far as them even sending you referrals, it's that old birds of a feather tend to flock
for
together.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
No, I meant refer them out to someone else.
Yeah.
Bronson.
Yeah, okay.
The same wavelength. That's not a silly question. I mean, it's a fair question because, like, if you don't want to put them in your database because it's just not going to work out, then there's no need. So communication is going to be the most important aspect to building and growing your database. And like all the different ways that we've talked about, newsletters, reaching out and stuff like that. It'll be worth your while to build out command in the way that helps your business grow so that you're automating your business and you're being effective in what you're sending them, and efficient too. And whether it's items of value that we've talked about and different ways to, and hey Steve,
Good point.
different ways to just connect with them. Because if you don't, they're just gonna sit there. Any ahas? No worries. All right, service your database. That is law number 4. Your job is to build a community and serve the community. So we've all heard fortune is in the follow-up, right? And that is so incredibly true. Now, if you communicate and you only send that one text, I mean, yes, you've communicated, but following up is really, really going to drive the boat, essentially. And make sure to, however that looks in your database, to implement a plan for lead follow-up and checking in. And the 8x8 program is great for that. You're constantly following up, like, hey, like, this might be very helpful for you. Fall's coming up, there's a fall checklist, or hey, this is market statistics in this area. You know, constantly nurturing and following up with your database is going to be super, super effective and helpful for you. So ahead of myself. Like I said, servicing your leads is a big part of building your community. Basically, a lead not followed up becomes somebody else's lead that they grow business and income from. Providing value in general and through your real estate knowledge by volunteering information and following through on what you'll say you'll do will be an important step to servicing your leads that you have in your database. If you continue to service all those leads, you'll be able to hold up. It's important to service all those leads so you can know the source, Knowing how the lead was generated will be important to calculating your return on investment for prospecting and marketing methods. That's helpful so that you can see, like, is this newsletter that I've been curating for 3 or 4 hours a week, is this actually effective for me? Which I hope it is. This is really cool.
Yeah.
And if you're able to track that lead source of these people came from the newsletter that I spent time on, then that might be very effective for you to continue to do, and your return on investment is worth it. Tracking your relationship, that's another way that Command does really well with Contact Card, is being able to track the activity for that contact. You'll be able to use your database to track those conversations, interactions related to all the transactions and relationships that helps ensure your customers are serviced and converted into those clients. And then referrals is another way that comes from servicing all those leads. So you will follow up with and reward the client who referred the new lead. When you reward the act of giving, remember to reward the act of giving you the lead. That's okay. Remember to reward the act of giving you the lead. So don't wait for the closing. Like, if they give you a referral, reward them within the next day or week. Don't wait until you close the transaction. That reward will help encourage the behavior and allowing your database to feed itself, essentially. Those are all ways to help service your leads.
Hey, Coryn,
Yes.
on that also, I would just add that even if it doesn't become a piece of business, it's extremely important to reward them, thank them, send a note, all of those things. It's our job to convert it, but they did the activity that we asked them to do. They referred, maybe they don't qualify, maybe it's going to be 2 years before they do, but we're rewarding the activity, not the actual business.
Yeah. Yep. That's a really good call out too. Because ultimately, like Lionel said, like if they're doing what you asked, and if it was a dead lead, like they still did what you asked, they still wanted you to be able to like have that potential lead. So really make sure to be intentional in thanking them for that. Plus that's just good practice in general.
Does anybody ever watch the show Shark Tank?
Oh, yeah.
I sort of like that show, and they always interview the sharks, interview the person trying to pitch them a product, and they ask them, so how are you selling your product now? And often they'll say direct to consumer, which means Amazon usually, but anyway, and then they'll say, what is your lead acquisition cost and the cost of per customer? So they really track, they expect them to track what each lead is, and so that is a good point that you just made about doing that yourself and seeing what methods of lead acquisition, whether it be a newsletter or whatever, website, social media, paid ads, whatever, how is that panning out for you, and what is the cost of each lead? Because usually it turns out to be fairly small, and well worth it,
And ultimately, you want to be effective with your time too, right? Because like if you spend too much time on something that your return of investment is not great, you essentially like wasted valuable time to curate your business in other ways. And so if you're tracking that and intentional to track that, that'll do way more for you in the long run than if you're like continually doing it and getting nothing from it. So Command makes things super easy to help service your leads. You can add, like I've mentioned, campaigns. You can add your contacts to campaigns. You can do your websites and opportunities, as well as adding smart plans and managing your referrals, and using designs for all sorts of marketing materials as well to continue to service your leads. On the next slide, this talks about Connect. I know I've touched on this before, but command your transactions with opportunities. That is another really good class to help you service your leads and help build your database as well. So really, if you want to learn in more depth and do it, your training yourself, KW Connect is a really good resource for that. So that might be a good place for you to start, Michael. Just kind of go through a little bit and like
I have a tag.
Love that.
It's just getting around to it.
It is just getting around to it, and just once a week or something, chunk at a time. But that is something that I recommend, and something that I am even doing on my time, is to learn more commands so that I'm able to teach you guys effectively as well. Can anybody tell me the 4 leads, 4 laws of your database?
Service.
Good job.
Feed and fill.
Yes, good job.
Backwards.
You know, you got it. Gotta work backwards. Good. Are you ready to turn your database into a data bank? Good. I got one. No, I got one.
Anytime you teach a class, that's all you shoot towards one.
Just anybody. I want to be able to like give value to the people that I talk to. So
A guy who did seminars told me, they like, doesn't matter how many Zooms, he says, I always know I'm talking to one person.
sometimes it is like that. I'm sure you guys get that in your conversations. You're like, at least I'm trying to talk to one person, you know? So generally you kind of have the tools and understanding and the systems to create your own database. You now understand, at least generally, the value of your database, and I would encourage you to commit to maximizing how you can use it. And don't be afraid that it does take time, right? Like my uncle would always tell me, time is your friend, in a lot of different ways. Now there's some moments where that transaction, that offer, that needs to get in real quickly. But when it comes to nurturing these potential leads, nurturing these contacts, having these conversations, time is going to be helpful for you. Kind of calling back to like Mackenzie, you mentioned, like it's kind of hard to not feel like you're just bogging people down, but taking the time just to build those relationships is going to be helpful for you, if you're willing to commit to it, which it sounds like you are. I would encourage you guys to continue to build your database, adding those contacts in, continue to feed by whether it's lead capturing or Facebook ads, or whatever that looks like, communicating, whether that's setting up smart plans, sending out campaigns, sending out newsletters, and then servicing those people in your database, whether it's sending out items of value on top of the newsletters that you send out, or continually like reminding them of the services that you can offer as a real estate agent. Okay, so
Hey, Coryn,
yes.
can I just remind you, I stepped away a little earlier, you might have already mentioned this, but when you're talking about the power here is understanding the 201 club, and just recognizing that the idea behind the 201 club, Keller Williams does such an amazing job tracking. And what they realized is that those that had at least 201 people in their database with those 4 items, name, phone number, email, and home address, and then they put them on the 33 touch, and they connected with either voice to voice or face to face once a quarter. That would provide alone, just out of that would provide 20 transactions a year. So somebody probably wouldn't expect that their first year because you're building it, but in year 2, the business will, just that piece alone is going to be like a full-time business or half a part of somebody's business. So the key is, as rapidly as possible, getting to that number and getting those items in there so that we're in the process of connecting, communicating, and then that's where you'll start getting those reply emails. Oh my gosh, it's so funny that you just sent me this email. We're actually took a new job and we're moving to Texas. So anyway, I would say for everyone, that's the key, is get it as fast as possible to the 201 and then just build on top of it. Most people have that kind of people in their sphere alone. And just one other point is, remember to put your out of the area and out of state people as well. So don't miss that 25% referral opportunity. If you've lived in a state, you have friends that are out of state, connect with them too. Put them on your 33 touch and just tag them out of the area or out of state, because that's a lot of money that's being left on the table, is these referrals.
Yeah. It's another good call out. The 2-1 Club, if you want to talk to me about getting involved with that, I can definitely help you set that up. Essentially what it is, obviously we heard from Lionel the results of putting 201 contacts in your database. But what the 2-1 Club is our regional tech trainer, Crystal LePron, created essentially a smart plan that you as individual agents can become a part of, and it's a 9-week challenge. So every week on Monday, you will get a challenge to do for the week that helps build your contacts up to 201 people. So if you do want to partake in that, talk with me. I'll get your emails all set up and send that over to her, so she can, so she can get that set up for you guys. But on Monday, she'll send out, the smart plan will send out this is the challenge for the week. This is how you do it. And if you follow that, you should be able to put contacts into your database. Then you should be able to consistently nurture them as well.
I signed up for that. I never got it.
I'm here.
I will talk with her. She has to manually edit and add, so I'll check it.
I just figured that was something that was overdone, or I was like, okay, well, move on.
We can
9 weeks repeat?
no, it's just a consistent 9 weeks, and then if you want to do it again, you'll have to re-sign up.
Oh,
So if you want to do it, talk to me about it.
So we're gonna get like 7 weeks tasks all at once.
They're just emails, essentially.
I'm just being.
So if you want to do it, talk to me about it, and then I'll make sure to message her specifically to make sure that you guys are on that.
so once people sign up, then she starts at week 1 every time.
Yes.
So it's not like you add in the middle.
Well, no, but I signed up like 6 weeks ago. I didn't get it. So if they just suddenly like, okay, we'll hook them up. I'm gonna get like 6 weeks. No.
6
Yeah.
just get hooked up in the first week.
Yeah. Yeah.
She'll just put you in the list for the first week.
I was trying to be funny.
Michael's like, come on. Okay, so trust in your database. Follow the score laws that I talked about. Don't quit, even though it is hard work. There's a 36 touch campaign that you can add to your database if you want through Smart Plans, and there's also other options as well to yield results. The 2-1 Club can yield results. Think long term. Always come from care and service. And remember that the real estate business is a relationship business. So build that relationship. Okay. Any ahas? How is your mindset now about your database? Are there any areas where you like to improve or grow into? Melinda, what are some examples?
Almost all areas I could improve.
So following the laws, first one, what are ways that you can build your database?
Well, right now, what I really need to do is clean up my database.
Okay, yeah,
And I haven't totally figured out how to do that.
okay,
But you might be able to help you with that.
yeah.
I'm just gonna clean up and we'll figure out who's a duplicate, things like that.
Yeah,
Then once we do that, I think better touches.
mhm,
Increase my touches would probably be the most
to communicate.
best thing.
Those are good call outs.
I really need to stay in communication. That's my bad thing that I have a problem with. Like, I have intentions of calling, but then I just don't.
Yeah, for sure. It's a good place to be.
Yeah.
To grow into. Yeah, I already know where you're at. Mackenzie, do you have any?
I got a lot.
You do. You got a lot. You're running well. Yeah.
Learning what's the best way to reach out without hey, I'm an agent, I need your business kind of thing, like make it
Yeah,
casual
Maybe
without
have-
bugging them.
and the care and
Yeah.
behind it for sure. Anybody else
I
on?
wanted to try that. I'd be curious to see how it works. I've always wondered, why don't we just do that?
Just be straight up.
Yeah, just, hey, I'm an agent looking for work.
Try it. I don't know. Just try it.
I've been toying with the idea for a long
Just
time.
see what happens, actually. Because I feel like some people will be like, no, I'm good, but thanks. You know, and some people will be like, I appreciate that.
Exactly. It's like, you're being right up front, right honest, but
Yeah.
that's not your personality.
100%. Yeah, for sure. Okay. So I kind of talked about this a little bit. Are there any
That's
tools / models or systems that you want to use in your business?
Anyway,
Any tools, models, and systems that we kind of talked about that you want to use in your business a little bit more effectively?
I am going to check out more of the smart fans and maybe the social media posts that Command has.
Yeah.
And maybe not necessarily use the like images Command has, but maybe like rebranded.
Yeah.
You know,
For sure.
post those.
100%. Okay, dokie. So, does anybody have any other questions before we wrap up?
Coryn, I would just say, when I started my business, I was so broke, I could not afford a sign. And I just used the Keller Williams tools. I used their systems and I just wholeheartedly bought into it because it's already being paid for just through our, monthly fees, which is very, very low. But
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that you can chase and do, go after and pay for. But I think if people really can commit to the this database system and the tools that it provides, there's everything that you need here. It's just a matter of starting with the database and then building on, like you said, the landing pages, the app, the websites, all of it's there. So you don't have to go chase something else and learn something new. What we have is absolutely phenomenal. So I just really encourage everybody, just tap into what you have and just master this and put blinders on to everything else, because shiny objects will show up all over the place and distract us and keep us from making these connections that really build our business.
7 years and I still love the shiny object.
That's a big
Super.
problem.
Yeah.
Hope a little bit.
But it's just a easier, I don't want to do this kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just gotta get a
The-
mindset around that to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Love that truthfulness.
I love that you're talking to Lionel too and
Yeah.
getting more involved.
Yeah.
Because he'll help you out with that
Yes.
for sure. All right. Well, you guys don't have anything else. Appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out with me. I just fumbled along.
I have a question while I have you here. Caitlin was looking for my business cards before I did the open house last week, and we could not find them anywhere. So
They
where
were on the desk on the left-hand side. They're still there this morning.
okay, yeah, no, she couldn't find them. So I just used the little QR code that like you showed me.
Okay.
Okay, and then I would like to sign up for that class and that buyer's packet. That's all. Or that buyer's class.
Yeah,
or
I'll send you that information, Barbie. I got you.
Thank you. I don't know what day I'll be in there, but I'm sure I'll be in there at least once this week.
Okay.
All right,
Sounds
thank you.
good.
Bye.
Absolutely. Bye.
Coryn, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Can resist the urge to say,